Welcome to the Molecular Dynamics Masterclass, presented by MD Sim 360. This series is dedicated to providing a comprehensive understanding of molecular dynamics simulations. In this video, we'll break down one of the most critical steps in molecular dynamics simulations: state energy minimization. If the term state energy minimization seems complicated, don't worry. Our goal is to explain it in a straightforward and easy-to-follow manner. We will take a step-by-step approach, breaking the process into manageable parts. This way, you'll understand what it is, why it matters, and how to apply it effectively. When constructing a molecular system for simulation, we incorporate thousands of components such as atoms, proteins, ions, and water molecules. In this case, we've added over 10,000 atoms, including essential ions such as potassium and chlorine. For visualization purposes, the potassium ions are represented in purple, while the chlorine ions are depicted in green. However, during the initial setup, these atoms and ions are placed automatically and could be in close proximity or in overlapping positions, leading to unnatural or strained configurations. Such arrangements can create significant problems for the simulation, as they do not reflect the actual physical behavior of molecules. If the simulation begins without addressing these issues, it can result in computational errors, system instability, or inaccurate outcomes. This is where energy minimization becomes essential. This process systematically adjusts the positions of atoms and ions to remove overlaps and reduce strain within the system. By stabilizing the molecular structure, energy minimization ensures that the simulation starts from a realistic and physically accurate state. This enables reliable and meaningful results. Let's talk about how energy minimization works and the parameters we set for this step. Let's begin with the energy convergence criterion, a crucial parameter in energy minimization. Essentially, it defines the threshold at which the system is considered to be stable enough. For our simulation, we've set this criterion to 800 kilojoules per mole per nanometer. This ensures that the system won't undergo drastic changes and that the energy is sufficiently minimized for further simulations. Now, to prevent the process from running indefinitely, we set a maximum minimization steps limit. For our simulation, this limit is set to 3,000 steps. This limit helps to prevent wasting time on unproductive runs and ensures we stay within a reasonable time frame for simulations. Next up is neighbor list updates. Neighbor list updates are essential for efficiently calculating atomic interactions in molecular dynamics simulations. The simulation engine, Gromacs, maintains a list of neighboring atoms for each atom, identifying which atoms are close enough to interact. Instead of recalculating all interactions at every step, the neighbor list is updated periodically. In our case, we've set it to update every 10 steps to balance accuracy with computational efficiency. This periodic update ensures that interactions are calculated accurately while minimizing unnecessary computations, speeding up the simulation. Moving on to the neighbor cutoff radius. To calculate the interactions among atoms efficiently, we define a cutoff radius. For our simulation, atoms within 1.2 nanometers are considered neighbors. This cutoff prevents unnecessary calculations of distant interactions, optimizing simulation performance. Then constraints on hydrogen bonds are applied to prevent unrealistic behavior during the simulation. These constraints ensure that hydrogen bonds maintain their natural length and strength, avoiding excessive stretching or compression. By restricting these bonds, we preserve the integrity of molecular interactions. To begin the energy minimization process, all you need to do is click a button, and the energy minimization process begins. A progress bar will appear, allowing you to monitor the status of the process. indicating how much the state energy minimization has progressed over time. Now, this step usually takes about 1 to 2 minutes to finish. Meanwhile, let's discuss the features of this platform. MDSIM 360 simplifies this entire procedure by providing a fully online platform where you can do your simulation end-to-end. It covers everything from start to finish. There's no need for high-performance computers. Our powerful servers handle all the computational workload, ensuring a smooth and efficient experience for you. We've broken the simulation process into manageable steps, making it straightforward and user-friendly. First, we begin with the upload input step, where you upload the necessary input files for your simulation. Next, we move on to the periodic boundary condition, PBC setup. In this step, we define the boundaries of the simulation box and specify how molecules that exit one side of the box will re-enter from the opposite side. This helps to prevent edge effects and makes the system behave as if it's part of a larger bulk material. Following the PBC setup, we proceed with the solvation step. Solvation involves adding solvent molecules, typically water, to the system. The solvent molecules fill the space around the solute, creating a realistic environment for simulating interactions. After solvation, the next step is ionization. In this step, we add ions to the system to balance the charges of the molecules. Finally, we arrive at the energy minimization step. Each of these steps is designed to prepare the system for an accurate and stable molecular dynamics simulation. After that, the system undergoes NVT equilibration, where the temperature is stabilized at a constant value, followed by NPT equilibration, where both pressure and temperature are controlled to ensure a realistic environment. Finally, the system enters the production run, where data is collected for analysis, simulating the system's behavior under the desired conditions. Another useful feature I'd like to highlight is the email notification feature. What this feature does is provide progress and completion updates for the various simulation steps. While the state energy minimization step typically takes only 1-2 minutes to complete, other steps like NVT and PT and the production run can take days to finish. The email notification feature will send you progress emails during the simulation, notifying you when a particular step has started or completed. This way, you'll stay updated throughout the entire process. For clarity, you can rename it, for example, from Cosmic Fleming to State Energy Minimization. Once you click Rename, the job title will automatically update. Once the minimization finishes, it's time to analyze the results. The most important graph to analyze during the state energy minimization step is the potential energy graph. This graph clearly shows the system's potential energy. To confirm that the energy minimization process was successful, look for smoothness in the graph. There should be no major fluctuations or irregular spikes. Other graphs, like bond energy and dihedral angles, should show a steady decrease or stabilization. For example, bond energy might initially peak at a high value, but it should drop and stabilize as the process completes. Similarly, improper dihedral angles, which represent torsional strain, should normalize to natural values. Next, the constrained RMSD graph it represents the root mean square deviation of the bond lengths in the system. Initially, you may see high values indicating that the bond lengths were stretched or elongated. This typically happens as the system begins to adjust. As the minimization process progresses, these bond lengths should stabilize. Then Leonard-Jones short-range interaction graph tracks the van der Waals interactions between atoms. In the initial phase of the energy minimization, you might observe a peak in the graph. This peak reflects an overlap between atoms as their positions are adjusted to find a more stable configuration. This interaction stabilizes, indicating that the atoms have moved into a more optimal configuration. The Coulomb short-range forces graph monitors the electrostatic interactions between charged particles. At the beginning, the electrostatic forces might be quite high due to the initial configurations of atoms and their charges. Over time, these forces decrease and stabilize as the system adjusts. Finally, the positional restraint graph shows the behavior of the positional restraints applied to atoms. At the start, there is typically high variance, meaning the atom's positions might fluctuate. The graph should show a decrease in variance, indicating that the system has reached stability. Each of these graphs helps in assessing the energy minimization process and ensures that the system is stable. You might be asking, what should you do if there are still fluctuations or instability toward the end? We can modify the simulation parameters. For instance, if the maximum number of minimization steps was set to 3,000, you could increase it to 5,000 or 6,000 steps. This gives the system more time to settle before moving on to the next step. Once the system is stable, you're ready to move on to the next steps in your simulation. Energy minimization lays the foundation for a successful molecular dynamics simulation. A well-minimized system ensures accurate, reliable results. If you have any questions about this step or the platform, drop them in the comments. We're here to help. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more videos in this series.